Welcome to another episode of Nintendo News Daily. I'm your host, N64 Josh. Of course, this show is part of the Nintendo Powercast. We're doing this live every day, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. Come and hang out live on YouTube. It's a good time. We're gonna do some Nintendo news. We've actually got quite a few articles to go over, and then apparently the Nintendo Direct is still happening in February. So we're going to talk about that as well as our main topic. So let's get to the intro. Well, before we get into the news, I just want to give a huge thank you again to everybody that that tuned in for the birthday stream. It was just a really good time. We did a TikTok spotlight on Saturday on my birthday. That was also really fun. And so just again, thank you to everybody that that tuned in. I appreciate every single one of you guys. And with that, I think we're going to jump right into the news here. So we're looking at Nintendo Life today. It says Nintendo establishing ways to respond to U.S. tariffs, says Furukawa. And I see some people are jumping in. Becca, hello, welcome on in. If you guys are just lurking, thank you so much. Looking at the article here, it says earlier this month, the current U.S. administration implemented an additional 10% tariff on all goods imported into the country from China. While the full effect of this increase is yet to be seen, it poses a potential price hike for console and accessories developed in China, which naturally is a cause for concern for both consumers and developers. Acknowledging this, Nintendo's president, Shintaro Furukawa, has said that the company is looking into potential impact that the tariffs could have on the upcoming financial year and the launch of the Switch 2, as reported by Reuters and translated by Nintendo Everything. Furukawa explained in a press conference that the company is predicting various geopolitical risks and establishing ways to respond. Nintendo Switch is not only manufactured in China, Furukawa noted, but in places such as Vietnam and Cambodia as well, with many Switch consoles already imported into the U.S. by the time the tariffs came into effect. Furukawa suggests that there should be little financial damage this fiscal year. While we anticipate a certain impact, the influence on this year's financial results is expected to be minimal. The Nintendo president didn't comment specifically on, fiscal year 2025-2026 and the launch of Switch 2, though there's every chance that the impact may be greater. Nintendo expanded its manufacturing operations outside of China in 2019 when proposed tariffs once again threatened to drive up prices. In a rare display of unity, Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft joined forces to pen a letter to the U.S. government warning of the tariffs' negative effect on the gaming industry should console sales not be exempt from the increased taxes. The letter led to a successful outcome for the companies in 2019, though 6 years later, no such exemption currently seem to be in place. No exemptions currently seem to be in place. We'll have to wait and see just how minimal of an impact the price increase has on consumer spending when there's a hot new console on the market. So interesting stuff there. Sounds like Nintendo's kind of already prepared for the worst by getting their games or getting their consoles manufactured also in Vietnam and Cambodia. So it seems like they're kind of hedging their bets a bit. So I see Sunshine is here, Joey is here. Welcome on in. We're just on our first news story talking about what the tariffs may end up doing to the prices of Switch 2. But currently, it's not looking like there's going to be too many issues for this fiscal year. Well, jumping over to kind of a sad story, honestly. Funko Fusion is deemed a complete commercial and critical failure. And I honestly don't know of any person that played this game. I don't think I heard any person talk about this game. And it's honestly kind of a bummer. I can say that when I saw it, it wasn't doing much for me. wasn't doing much for me. But anyway, a new report from Insider Gaming has revealed that multiple layoffs occurred at Studio 1010 Games following the release of Funko Fusion in 2024. Essentially, anonymous sources have stated that the game was a complete commercial and critical failure and is the primary catalyst behind around 20 unconfirmed job losses. According to the sources, some of those let go were also on holiday at the time. Oh, man. And felt obligated to attend consultation meetings despite being on leave and within different time zones. To make matters worse, it's reported that no meaningful severance has been offered from the company, with only the bare minimum provided in addition to unpaid holiday leave. It is also said, however, that staff was pressured into using holiday leave prior to the announcement in order to avoid the company paying out after the fact. Oh, wow. The job losses are reportedly entirely based on the needs of the studio's next venture, with senior level and upper management staff seemingly not affected, of course. Sources also claim that studio heads Paul Flanagan and Arthur Parsons wanted to be upfront about the layoffs and claim public responsibility for the job losses, but no official statement has been provided at the time of writing. If the layoffs confirmed are true, the studio joins the likes of Ubisoft and Phoenix Labs in downsizing their operations, with the latter laying off the majority of the studio. So, one, you hate to see people losing jobs. That's never, ever a good thing. Surface level with this game, my gut feeling is that they were looking at what Lego was able to pull off. You know, Funko probably looked at Lego. Lego was in bad shape. And I don't think Funko is in bad shape. I think they're just, you know, always wanting to grow the business. And I think my assumption is that as they looked at how well Lego has done in the with games. I mean, gaming, Star Wars Lego, like the first game, was like a huge catalyst to keeping Lego afloat and essentially moving them forward, because things were not looking good. And I'm curious if Funko was hoping something similar would happen with this game, but it felt like a game that didn't know what it was. Like it, I had no clue what was the point of this game. They've got all this licensing, all this IP. It seemed like it could have had a ton of potential, but it also didn't seem to really know what it was doing. That's what it felt like to me anyway, as I saw it. So taking a couple questions from the or comments from the chat here. Sunshine says, "Oh geez, that's awful. Funko should stick to what they know. Why get into video games?" I mean, it's one of those, like, if you look at this game, like even the picture that I'm looking at right now, you've got Chris Pratt, his Funko from Jurassic Park. You've got He-Man, Five Nights at Freddy's, Skeletor from He-Man, just all of these different Chucky, Battlestar Galactica. Like there's so many IPs here that you would assume it would almost just like that could be enough to carry it, right? But then it, like, what was this game about? What was the point of it? Like when I saw it, and I guess maybe, you know, I'm kind of guessing everybody was in the same boat. Like I don't even personally collect Funkos. Like they don't do all that much for me. It's just one of those things that I'm like, I don't need another thing to collect. If they did some like Nintendo ones, I'd probably pull the trigger on a few, but like outside of that, it's not something that I'm all that interested in. The IP that they were able to get was like is amazing, but again, if the overall like gameplay loop isn't all that great, the IP is not going to save it, right? Like it's just not going to. So the Pokemon fan is asking, we're going to get to this at the end of the our main topic here, but it says, will there be a direct this month Does it have to be this week since Pokemon Day is next week? We're gonna have to wait and see. But from the sounds of things, it's still happening. But we'll dig into that for sure. Joey says, imagine a Lego Nintendo game where it's open world from the likes of Mario, DK, Zelda, Metroid, and such. Oh, I'd love it. I think Lego getting involved with, I mean, I don't know if you guys have played Minecraft on your Wii U or your Switch, and being able to check out the Nintendo world that is essentially built in Minecraft. So great. So great. Sunshine also says Funko has board games, and not sure the success of their board games. I'm very confused by all this. And it's, you ultimately, you never know when it comes to games how things are going to do. It may have looked really good on paper. I was thinking about this recently, like I saw a picture of one of the Goombas from the original Super Mario Brothers movie, right? The live action one. And the Goombas were these super, like, just massive creatures with these tiny little heads. And it's like, who thought of this? Like, what is this? Like, how did somebody look at this and go, yeah, this is a great idea. This is gonna really sell a lot of tickets. And I think there are those moments where, like, even within those studios, you get that many people all kind of thinking that, hey, this is looking really, really cool, and it ends up just flopping, So it unfortunate. You hate seeing the layoffs, and just I don't know the type of game, Lego is pretty established in like building, and we know what Lego is, but Funko is basically just these statues. So you've got to create some kind of sandbox or something that's going to make playing with these statues really, really fun. And I don't think I don't this obviously wasn't it, with it being a complete commercial and critical failure, unfortunately. So Toby Fox shares a development update on Deltarune Chapter 3 and 4. This is not a game I think I've played a little bit of one of them. Because I think, like, I don't even totally understand it, but I know there's a lot of fans. I know there's a lot of fans out there. But there is, it says still console testing. So there's a tweet here, or whatever they're called on Blue Sky. It says still console testing. There are fewer bugs, but there's a lot to go through. Haven't even tested PS5 yet. In addition to fixing Chapter 3 and 4, we also need to implement having saves from the demo carry over to the main game on consoles. We only received the technology to do this now. I hope it works. So if you are a fan of Deltarune, hopefully soon. It looks like it's going to be a little while, though, if you're planning on playing this on your PS5. So unfortunate that it's taken as long as it is. I think, isn't Undertale tied to this series and everything? And Undertale is what I know. There's a really big fan base for Undertale, and I've played just a little bit of it, but not very much at all. And that, I'm assuming, that is still in the same. I think that's still the same games. I'm pretty sure. I'm looking at yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. So gonna be a little bit here, still console testing, so just be patient with that one. Well, we got some Xbox news, because they're saying expect to see the Switch logo, and I even saw the PlayStation logo pop up in future Xbox showcases. Phil Spencer is who we were chatting with, who they were chatting with here. And so looking at the article, it says Xbox games going multi-platform is old news, but by this point, but according to Phil Spencer, the company is looking to up its transparency during developer direct showcases when it comes to specifying where its games are launching. Those paying attention during last month's Xbox Direct may have noticed launch platforms cropping up at the end of each trailer. Not that there was all that much on the Switch front, but PS5 was specifically mentioned for Ninja Gaiden 4. For example, and Xbox is going to adopt this as a common practice going forward. At least that's what Spencer revealed on a recent episode of the Xbox Era podcast, where the Green Machine boss pledged to be honest and transparent about where games are showing, be that on Xbox, PlayStation, or yes, Nintendo Switch. So here's the quote. It says, "I just want to be transparent with people," Spencer said, of the other platform logos appearing in future Xbox game trailers. For shipping on Nintendo Switch, we're going to put that. For shipping on PlayStation, on Steam, people should know the storefronts where they can get our games. This is all part of letting people experience our Xbox community in our games and everything we have to offer on every screen we can. So this is such an interesting. It's so interesting watching this all unfold, because even today, like, if I scroll X for just even a short amount of time, I will find grown men still console warring, and like it's unbelievable to me. It's unreal to me. Like, I mean, I guess if Nintendo started putting games on other systems, I think in a way I would be excited, because I'd be like, yo, I get to play Mario Kart on a more powerful machine. Like, if there's up-resing going on and things can look even better, I don't know that I would be like super upset about this, but I don't know. There are people out there that have attached themselves to plastic boxes in ways that I don't quite understand. And so, especially when it comes to the way Xbox, when they purchased Activision, and there were a lot of Xbox fans that were like, this is going to be our hour, hold the line. Xbox is going to own all the games. It's going to be the biggest and best console around. And then they started putting their games everywhere else. So I think it's great for the consumer to know exactly where certain games are going to be released, and where we can plan on picking up certain games. Again, I think the majority of the time when they're going to be coming to Switch 2, we're going to be able to get the physical version there, which is fantastic, because I don't know that there's going to be a lot of physical games from Xbox going forward. I just want to say welcome on in to Miguel and Nady Nay, Pokemon fan as well. Welcome. So good to see you guys. I know some of you guys are just lurking still. We do appreciate it. But I think overall it is a good, with the direction that Xbox is going, it's going to be good to know where games are releasing, and not this like for the last little bit, as this transitioning has been taking place, everybody is like, guessing, oh, is this coming to PlayStation? Is Indiana Jones coming to PlayStation? Is Starfield coming to PlayStation? Like, what games are going to be hitting Switch 2? Like, it's a good question. Well, now we're going to know. And the little indicator at the end of these developer directs is going to be fantastic. I can tell you one that I'm looking for, and that's going to be Perfect Dark. I want to know if that's going to land on Switch, because you have no idea how excited I would be to see that land on Nintendo Switch. So Joey says, best thing for game development is that games are available on every system. I mean, it's business wise, right? Like, I think at this point, if you're gonna buy a PlayStation, you're probably gonna buy the next one and the next one and the next one. And I think Xbox is seeing that not that many people are buying Xboxes. And if they want to make money and stay in this thing, they got to push software. And so that's their business model now. And it's the way it goes. I'm curious about the future of Game Pass. I'm very, very curious about the future of Game Pass, and what it looks like, and how it does going forward, because we live in a time where we watch our entertainment through streaming services. Netflix, Max, Disney Plus. I could go down the list, right? Paramount Plus, Apple TV. Like, it's extensive. And then you got music. You're probably using Spotify, maybe YouTube, maybe Apple Music. It makes sense that gaming would go that route, but they're gonna have to make some changes. They're gonna have to make some changes, some big changes. So, Nate says, I also think people have service sub fatigue. Yeah, because when it was just Netflix, it was like, yo, I don't have to pay my cable bill anymore, right? And I could still, like, maybe you had, like, well, when Netflix was first going on, we could still go and rent movie. You could rent DVDs from them if there was stuff they didn't have, or Blu-ray. But now everybody's like wanting a piece of this pie. Most of us spend more now in services than we did for cable. And gaming, if it's going to happen, the thing with movies and music is I have family plans for everything, but yet no one else can use my Game Pass. So there's got to be changes made. It has to evolve and become a similar business to Netflix. And I know it's household, and I get that. Like with Netflix, you got to be in the same household for your password and whatnot to work. But I think gaming's going to have to get to that same scenario where it's like a lot of people, like I mentioned, I think last week, they're like, I don't want to buy a digital game when I'm the only one that has access to it when I want to share it with my kids. So Nate says, I think something like Game Pass will only be serviceable when you're a huge company with deep pockets. I still can't see other platforms doing it. Microsoft can afford that risk. Yeah. Yep. You are correct. So just it's going to be a really fun time to be a Nintendo fan. And there's going to be a lot of excitement come time for Smash. And not only do we now get excited for the Nintendo Directs, but Xbox Directs could potentially be just as exciting. So, and it also opens up the window for like a Fable collection to make its way to the Switch. We know the Master Chief collection is rumored to be coming. There's a lot of really great titles on Xbox that if you've never had a chance to play, you're going to be in for a treat. So Joey says, until a game comes off their subscription and someone isn't happy. And that happens as well. It does happen for sure. But that's why, like, I think going forward, they got to get to a place where there's like a family plan. And also when you buy a game digitally, like, you need to, like, essentially allow multiple sign-ins to that library, at least if they're in the same household. I think that would remedy some of these issues. But we'll just have to wait and see. Well, Nate's favorite game is in the news. Marvel Rivals. Dev NetEase already in contact with Nintendo about Switch 2. It's working on dev kits and is open to a Switch 2 release. The article reads, the popular team-based hero title Marvel Rivals has experienced an incredibly successful launch. As it continues to grow, developer NetEase Games is looking at new ways to expand the experience while it's reportedly ruled out a release on the original Switch. It seems there's a real chance of the game coming to Switch 2. Speaking to IGN at the DICE Summit in Las Vegas, Marvel Rivals producer Wei Kong Wu mentioned how the team has already in contact with Nintendo and is apparently working on some development kits, so the decision will come down to how the game performs on the system. The goal is to provide a great experience. Was the same reason the developer chose not to release the game on the original Switch. So again, as long as you can provide great performance on Switch 2, it's open to a release on this platform. So Backtracking just a little bit here. Nadine Nay says if you look at Disney, they probably charge tons for other services to get the Home Alone movies on their platform. Yeah, no question there. Nate also said he's unsubbing for calling out his favorite game. So, I'm not shocked. But again, great to hear that a game like this is potentially going to be making its way to Switch 2. That's going to give, even more options. Having it also look good and not like who's playing Apex on their Switch? We've had a number of live service games come to Switch that are they've gone away. They've gone away. They're no longer there. They're no longer supported. The number of live service games is kind of crazy that are on Switch. But I would say the main one that gets played, Fortnite. That's probably the main one that still gets plenty of playtime is Fortnite. And so I don't feel like any of the other games that have attempted it have really pulled off what Fortnite has done. But I think there's going to be way more opportunity here for these games to find new life on Switch 2, and I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. Well, I am currently looking at my Alarmo, and Alarmo is now available to everyone on the My Nintendo store in the US. So little blurb here from Nintendo. It says Nintendo Sound Clock Alarmo is now available on My Nintendo Store. No Nintendo Switch Online membership required. Available while supplies last. So if you're looking for some interesting ways to get to wake up in the morning, Alarmo is the way to go. I used to have an alarm set for this show. I eventually just turned it off, but it still goes off at the top of the hour, and it's kind of loud, and you hear all these Mario Karts go flying by, and then you'll hear one of the characters, like, Mario will be like, yippee, and Yoshi and Bowser and Peach and Donkey Kong, and it's like, it sound like it went off during the stream on my birthday, and Jasmine was like, what is going on? What is going on? So Miguel says Prime and I played Apex on Switch and the experience was horrendous. And I played Fortnite and I noticed nothing wrong with it. Thought the gameplay is perfect on Switch. Oh, I'm sorry. Called me. I see. I thought you were saying you played with Prime, but yeah. So Apex was rough. Fortnite is rough. Compared to your Series S, your Series X, your PS5, there's a lot of like your draw distance is not quite as good. You're seeing some pop in, that kind of stuff. So still, I mean, it still works. It's still playable. But once you play it on an Xbox or PS5, you'll be like, oh, it's hard to go back. So I see M is here. Hello. Welcome on in. And no worries about the autocorrect. Not a problem at all. Again, guys, Alarmo available on My Nintendo Store in the US if you want to pick one up. It does look like you're using something right out of a Mario cartoon or something. Like I love having it on my desk. I use my watch to wake up so that it doesn't it only wakes me up when the alarm goes off because I'm usually up pretty early. So that's why I just have it as basically a decoration. And I know you guys can't see it either, but I did get the Mario Kart statue, which I will, let's see here. I will maximize the screen. You can see it right here. It's like the 8-inch first 4-figure statue. Jasmine got it for me for my birthday, and I could not be happier with that thing behind me. I love it. So Nate says, does it help be on time though? I mean, I was only 2 minutes late today, so I think it's helping. I think it's helping. Joey says, I would set my wake up tune on Alarmo to Bowser's Castle theme, but then I wouldn't know if I needed to wake up or my mother-in-law was calling. Wow. And Miguel says, I like both versions. Oh, that's good to know. Yeah, I mean, I've played on Switch. I played on Switch just for the ease of being able to play handheld, which was crazy. But I played a ton of Fortnite during COVID with on Switch handheld, so I totally get it. But yeah, Alarmo is a lot of fun. Like I just love looking down. Sometimes there's like toads working on a cart. Like Mario is just kind of like he's going in reverse, going forward, going in reverse, and it's great. Nate says it needs Donkey Kong water level music instant buy. And M says Toad screaming will definitely make me get out of bed. Yeah, no question there. No question there. So this, guys, this is crazy. This is crazy. Now, the first place I heard about this was on was a video from Nintendo Prime, and this is nuts. There are Switch 2 units reportedly selling for $40,000 on the Chinese black market, and then the little subheading says or $50 trade in at GameStop. So this is from Nintendo Switch 2. Looks like on Reddit. Oh yeah, okay. The Nintendo Switch 2 subreddit. It says Chinese CAD model leaker shows a screenshot of his DMs with a black market seller saying the price for the Switch 2 dock, Joy-Cons, and tablet will cost $37,780. Now, there's been somebody saying they've bought one that's in their hands. They can't do anything with it. Like the most they could do is start opening the thing up and taking a peek at all of the parts, but nothing runs. Nothing runs on this thing. So it's apparently doesn't even like. Miguel says that's insane. Someone would pay $40,000, but definitely not me. Yeah, no, for real. Like it's but depending on, maybe they just got a lot of disposable income. I don't know. Like even with that much disposable income, I'm like, I don't know that I would need like Joey says, a $40,000 brick. Like I don't really see the purpose of owning it. And unless you're going to like open everything up and make YouTube videos and stuff like that. But even then you run the risk of Nintendo coming after you. So I don't know. Maybe it's just a weird flex and that's all they needed. But I can't imagine like it would also dealing with Nintendo after the fact too. Like that would just be a little bit scary. Nate Nay says it's the same person that probably has a Nintendo PlayStation and both are bricks. Yeah, no question there. So just super, super interesting to drop, $40,000 on the Chinese black market to be able to get this thing early and then not be able to do anything with it. And Miguel says, but there's so much you could do with $40,000, like vacation or buy something big, like a decent car, a down payment on a house. Like there's a lot you could do there. No question. So I do think the best part of this article though was or $50 trade in at GameStop. That really hit right there. That was fantastic, I think. So but yeah, just really, really crazy. Well, I know we talked about recently February Direct. We're talking about it again because we got two different sources reconfirming from their sources that a direct of some kind is going to be happening in February. Okay. M says my excuse for coming in 24th in Mario Kart will be they've been practicing on the Chinese black market. There you go. Perfect. Pokemon fan says they're running out of time, right, for these directs. Yeah. And as I was getting ready for the show, I put on Sunbro Nation. I put on his most recent video talking about these directs, and like there's a very real possibility if they're happening this week. They're happening this week because we run into the Pokemon Presents. And so now you've got some overlap that I don't think anybody really wants happening. I'm not sure this is going to be like a really big direct from Nintendo, right? Like we've talked about this. Kirby Planet Robobot, Metroid Prime 2 remastered is all I'm putting into the universe, so 3 can come later. I'm sorry, but that's what I'm putting into the universe. And then maybe there's some surprises. You know, maybe there's still some surprises. Maybe Silk Song. Maybe this is a direct mini with a partner showcase. But even hearing that conversation, like, what are third parties going to be pushing with the launch of the new system coming out? I'm just not like, what's the play here? These third party companies are going to want to get to the install base that the Switch 1 has. So I totally get it. They can't talk about what their game would potentially do on Switch 2, I don't think, because I think everybody is under NDA to not mention anything until after April. And I always love when I see an all caps message from Nate that says, "Do not read that," or at least the last sentence. So it says, "What if the April 2nd Direct is only for Switch 2 and no games? That would be some serious blue. I'll let you guys figure out the rest." So I can't imagine them not talking. You got to talk software to get people hyped, right? Like, you've got to talk software. I mean, when you go back to the OG Switch announcement, you had Skyrim, you had FIFA, you had Steep, you had Odyssey, you had Breath of the Wild. I want to say maybe even ARMS was shown. You know, I'm pretty sure they showed Splatoon and Mario Kart. Like, they kind of showed their hand. And I mean, I totally understand why, coming off of the Wii U. Now, I don't think they need to show their hand that much this time around. But maybe February really kind of shows us what we could expect from April, right? Because if February is like very minimal and not that many games that they're showing to be coming out for the up until summer, then we're going to know that like the second direct is going to be, or the April 2nd Direct is going to be pretty big. It's going to have, plenty of software. You got third party support. How much first party support are we going to see? Like, yeah, and there are crazy rumors going on out there right now talking about how Metroid Prime 4 has been done for a year and they're already working on 5. Like, what? If that's the case, I'm totally fine with it. But they must have some serious confidence in Prime 4 if that's real. Like, they must have some serious confidence in it, which that gets me excited, but also crazy, So, Pokemon fan says, or they combine Pokemon Presents and Direct together. Maybe, but I feel like Pokemon really likes to do their own thing when it comes to this stuff, right? Because it's not just talking about like Switch games. They're usually talking about like some of their mobile stuff. Pokemon Unite obviously is on Switch as well. So, but I feel like, I mean, maybe they do it in the same day, and it's like kind of like they did that mini, or what was it, an indie and a partner at the same time, and it was like they basically just put 2 directs together, but there was a small break in between them. So, Miguel says, would like to see a Splatoon 4 during the April 2nd Direct, to be your first Splatoon game, but if not there, when do you think we'll see it? This is a great question, This is a great question because I, I'm a little bit baffled and at the same time extremely curious on how Nintendo's going to handle the release dates for everything. I would say this: from the launch of the Switch 2 for the first 2 years, I would say you could probably expect quite a few of the mainline games getting their sequels and being released. I If you think about the way Nintendo did the initial launch for Switch 1, like it was like Breath of the Wild, a couple of third parties, 1-2 Switch. I think Bomberman was there. You guys might remember a few more. And then shortly after that, like, ARMS and Splatoon 2 and Mario Kart and eventually Mario Odyssey. Like there was a lot. There was there was just a lot of stuff out there. That was also due to the lack of third party support, right? Like real third party support. That's not the case anymore. I hope Nintendo goes just as hard with the first year of Switch 2, because I think there is something to like statistically, I think there's something to look at with Switch 1 and go, we should emulate this again. Even with all the third party support, you're just gonna have to shuffle things in so that they work out a little bit better, like, earlier in the month, later in the month, middle of the month, whatever that case is. Like give them a couple weeks to breathe and then get something else out. But like you're going to want to get software on this new system as quickly as possible. So I would say that there is a very real possibility that we see Splatoon 4 within the first 2 years, no question, and possibly within the first year. So that's kind of where my head is with that. Is probably within the first year. Joey says, I heard a rumor that Switch 2 gets shadow dropped after the April 2nd direct. Yes, that has been talked about. And that would be crazy. So I'm going to take us over to the FAMI boards. This is where PH Brazil, this is his update that came out on Saturday. It says, as promised, here's an update. Just talked overnight with my source asking for reassurance, not unlike how this thread does, and they still insist that some form of a direct is happening this month. This is the same person who clued me in to the August 4th presentation last year, but back in August. At this point, uh, at this point, uh, relative to when the event was supposed to take place, I'd already heard about it. If Heard about it from someone else, which isn't the case now. Not really going to try and speculate on what this could mean, as we'll soon see. Just laying it all out there. And then Jeff Grubb was talking on a podcast, and he basically doubled down as well and said, hey, we are going to be getting a direct of some kind. Now, the assumption that I was kind of picked up on from Sunbro's video is that, like, more than likely both of these guys aren't like hearing from Nintendo directly, but from somebody that is working on a game that is going to be announced during this direct. And so that is how they are getting this information. That, because if whatever studio is going to be announcing something, they're gonna have already chatted with Nintendo. Like they're gonna know when this direct is coming out, when they can. Maybe they don't know the exact date, but they're gonna know their game's being mentioned, right? And so if they're spilling the beans to PH Brazil and Jeff Grubb, that's kind of how we're getting this info. So I do still think it's going to happen. Again, Kirby Planet Robobot, Metroid Prime. I'm hoping there's some kind of surprise Mario game. Maybe it's a sports title or something along those lines. Maybe they hold off on those until after Switch 2 is a little more established. I don't know what else they really show at this, with them really holding off until April 2nd for all things Switch 2. So it's again probably just something tiny, and maybe some kind of partner showcase as well. Like what we see there, I'm not, you know, it's just it's a crazy time. Every time we have those new consoles coming out, the transition is always a little bit different. Pokemon fan says Tamagotchi life, yo, for real, make it happen. Make it happen. That would be amazing. I would be so stoked for that. But yeah, so stay tuned this week. I got a good feeling about this week, you guys. I got a good feeling about this week that we're gonna be finding out something. I hope the announcement goes like this: that they say, "Hey, Metroid Prime 2 remastered out now digitally. That's our February game. Kirby Planet Robobot coming out in April. We got Xenoblade Chronicles. That's coming in March. Xenoblade Chronicles X, and you know, and then also Miitopia. Right. Yeah, Miitopia is there. So get Tamagotchi life, and yeah, and then don't forget, guys. I've mentioned this every time too, but there is Mario Day is March 10th, and it's the 40th anniversary of Super Mario Brothers. So there's stuff for them to talk about there. But I'm now leaning towards them doing a fun tweet for Mario Day. Maybe there's like a some more stuff coming out to NSO, and then maybe the June. I'm assuming there's a June direct. Maybe they talk more about the 40th anniversary. They got to squeeze the 40th anniversary of Mario in somewhere. So, Nate, I'm not putting that energy out there of watch Prime 2 and 3 games just be straight up ports. We're not doing that. Miguel says, Josh, they should do a Nintendo sports game with one sports game in one Nintendo franchise world. What would you think? Okay, let me see. They should do a Nintendo sports game with one sport game in one Nintendo franchise. So, Miguel, are we saying like you want like the Legend of Zelda, like you want Link's golf, right? I mean, it sells itself. What else, is that what we're talking about? So it's golf that takes place in the Legend of Hit the Links with Link in the Legend of Zelda, or are we saying we want to see what sport from Nintendo lore can be brought up and then turned into a sports game on Switch? Either way, I'm happy with either of those. So, Joey Pitt says DK64 or Diddy Kong Racing coming to NSO announced this week in a direct or standalone tweet. That'd be fantastic. That'd be amazing. Just a thought you had, Miguel. No, I like it. What's kind of weird is I've got a Joey says DK boxing. Let's go. I'm ready. I mentioned that. I think I mentioned something similar to that in when I talked about Punch Out and how they revived that series. Literally just make us box Nintendo characters. I think it'd be a ton of fun. They got Donkey Kong in there already. So just kind of like Smash, but in that Punch Out formula. Now, when it I've got a strange like gut feeling about a sports title. I don't know why. I don't know if there's a chance we see Sluggers, right? We see Sluggers make its way back to the into the lineup. I would love it. We've already seen, I would say two. Well, I don't know. Not everybody loves the sports games from Nintendo as much as I do. Like, and it's not that they don't have their issues. They really, really do. I want the sports games to get back to the point where they're not treated like something that they know isn't going to sell more than X amount of copies, so they don't get the effort that they really deserve. I think if they really put the effort in that they deserve, they could see more sales. But they're obviously looking at past sales from games like the Mario Golf on 3DS. Didn't even sell 500,000. They put serious effort into that game. It was incredible. It should have sold way more, but it didn't. So Joey Pitt says NFL Nintendo Football League. I don't know. I don't know if that would I don't know if that would go over so well. I don't know. I'd be little nervous about that one. But well, we are just about to that hour mark, you guys. Thanks so much. Again, we're doing this live 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. If that time changes just due to some scheduling stuff I'm dealing with, I will let you guys know in advance. Don't you worry. And I really do appreciate everybody that's coming out to the live show. If you're listening after the fact, you're amazing. I do appreciate all of it, you guys. And we will see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.